because we do a lot of Audible books. We should hit up Audible and be like, dude, we pretty much review your books.
They're going to give us 5 coins.
They're all, here's some free passes, kid.
This episode is brought to you by Amco Air, the first company to create time machines to travel all over the world and actually study history as it happened. Amco Air is the proud sponsor of the History for Foos podcast. You can board them and get on them for $150,000. They will take you to any time and any
Wow.
place. Thank you, Amco Air.
Have you used that service yet?
Do I have $150,000?
Right,
Should
but
be the question.
Did they give us free passes?
No, they just gave us 5 Gs per ad. That's it.
Man. I was hoping they'd give us... Would you rather take free passes or the $5,000?
The $5,000.
I would take the free passes.
Because you don't know, man. We don't know if it has anyone has used it and came back. So.
Oh.
Or they just keep my 5 Gs. You never know, man. They're probably putting you in the incinerator, bro.
Right, dude. I wonder what would happen to you molecularly if you like traveled back in.
I think time travel will be exactly like space travel, bro.
Right.
You gotta have the right stomach, the right brain, the right mental capacity to take something, to break it down in molecules and then travel you.
Right, but okay. So to me, it's also though like, even if you step foot in time, right? Like let's say you step out of a time machine, and you make a footprint, that's got to alter time in a different direction. And if that's altering time overall in a different direction, would it alter how you exist? Like in Back to the Future, you know, he starts to disappear because his parents aren't getting together. Like, I wonder in like, this is so fucking crazy, dude. Like, in reality, if you could, like, I don't know.
I think whoever builds the time machine.
Don't you wish you had your no button?
And whoever builds a time machine and goes back to time to change something, his results would always come back to the time when he thought about building a time machine. Because whatever he did in life, something he did in his past, something he did now in his life, made him build a time machine.
Right.
So he can never change life for himself because no matter where he goes back, he has to come up with the brains to build a time machine.
Right.
Because that's the movie, The Time Machine is all that's what
it's about.
It's about.
I've never seen that.
Because in the movie The Time Machine,
he's
walking with fiance. He's already a scientist, you know, and he's walking with his fiance.
Right.
And she gets run over by a stagecoach.
Okay.
Okay. A stagecoach. It just hits her. Or no. They get mugged, I think, or she gets stabbed. Anyways, she gets mugged. They get mugged and she gets stabbed and she dies.
Okay.
So they goes out there and builds a time machine. He goes back in time to the time where before they got mugged. Now they avoided the mugger, but as they're walking, she gets hit by a stagecoach. She gets run over.
Oh, so it's like kind of Final Destination.
She gets run over.
Right.
No. So this fool goes back and builds a time machine again and goes back in time to the same time where him and the fiance. And this time, she gets hit by the first ever car. She was the first person to get run over by a car. So this fool keep going back and back and back in time, same results. He finally makes it to he finally decides to go to the future.
Okay.
And when he goes to the future, there's like this AI that's answering questions at a museum, and that AI, he's from 200 years in our time. But that AI now, it's an extinct AI thing.
Right.
That's 1,000 years in the future now.
Okay.
And he goes there and he tells them, how come every time I go back to save my wife, my fiance, she always dies? And then the AI tells him, well, you can't save her life because she needs to die. So you couldn't have the confidence and the energy to build a time machine.
Oh, that's so fucked up. That's fucked up. See, that's why I don't watch time fucking. I'm honestly,
But it makes sense, right?
it does make sense.
'Cause
yeah, I hate this.
His heartbit of his wife getting mugged and killed the first time
Ah.
is what makes him give them the motivation to go
So
build
sad.
to build a time machine to go save his love is what's keeping him going. You know, so
Right.
if she doesn't die, there's no point in building a time machine.
Fate's so fucked up like that, dude. Because here's the thing, I don't like. I avoid time machine movies for this reason because it's such a complicated, fucked up subject. Like, I like because you start to think of all the variables, dude. And,
Variables.
And when you think of that, it's dude. You know, because that's like following the line of fate. Like this is your fate. Your fate is no matter what in history. Felipe Esparza is supposed to be a
Stand-up comic.
a successful stand-up comic. Okay? So no matter what happens to you, no matter how you augment time, all the tragedies that have happened to you have to happen to you in order to make you.
Yes.
Wow. So there's no way I could go. And that's the thing is, I think about that. I honestly think about that, and this is so mushy and stupid. But it's like I'm very happy in my relationship. I make that pretty well known. And I do feel like because I lost a house and I lost, I had a pretty rough time with my last girlfriend, and it was all fucked up. But I do feel like if that didn't happen, then I wouldn't have met my girl now.
That's why I never liked that question when they ask someone that's been through a struggle, but then he bounced back and
Right.
fought the threshold, and now he's okay again.
Yes.
They ask him, would you go through it all over again?
Right.
And the answer to that would be, I would have no choice.
Absolutely. Right. But that's the thing is like, I don't like that question either. Because
because that's not even like, even if it's not, that's not a right or wrong answer.
Right.
Because you can't, it's inevitable.
No. The answer is no. In reality, no. Do I want my mom to, do I want to find my mom dead? Do I want to, have my ex, do what she did? Do I want all that stuff? No. I'm very happy with my life, but, dude, if I knew that was going to happen, you know what I mean? But, of course, I would go through it all over again because I'm happy with where I'm at. And so it's a fucked up question because there's no right answer, like you just said. Yeah, dude, I hate time and space.
I met people who believe in time travel, bro.
Like current time travel, or there's a possibility of
No,
time
like
travel?
current time travel.
That's fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah, one of those rapper dudes. I can't think of his name right now.
I think we should
But
ask
I was with him on Be Real TV with the guy from Deftones.
Right.
We're gonna have him in the podcast, Flat Earther. And
oh, nice.
And then another dude, I can't think of his name. He's like a rapper. I don't know, but he said he believes in time travel.
Who's the I think I know who you're talking about. Do you know who that is?
Who?
Melissa?
No.
It
was It was James
Is it
Fox.
the same guy that made his own console?
I don't know.
He made his own video game console, an emulator, I think.
I doubt
it might be because there's a couple. Oh, and then there's B.O.B. B.O.B. is a flat earther, I think, too. But yeah, that's interesting. It's very interesting. With the world we live in right now, that people, I don't think time travel can ever happen. I think it's a great concept, but again, I think
I'm a flat asser. I like girls with big boobs and no ass. Cause you know why? Why should you have everything, bro? I'm fat, but I have a big personality.
Right.
You think God's gonna make me good looking too? Because God knows that I use those powers for evil.
You would be a bad guy if you were good looking.
Imagine if God would have gave me good looks,
right?
Awesome ass body, Matt Rife ribs,
right?
And this personality.
Yes.
He knows that I would use all that power for evil.
Yes.
That's why he made me fat to slow my ass down.
Right.
He gave me a stuttering problem, so I won't talk a lot of shit. Yeah, it all planned out, dog.
And it still didn't slow you down, dude. It's still. You were like, not today, God.
I got to thank the devil for that, dog.
That's hilarious, dude. Because I feel the same way, kind
You ever
of.
have someone like you like in a movie or you read a book and there's like somebody who's like in like maybe handicapped or slow minded, you know, and the mom gotta lie to him. No, honey, God made your feet crooked so you could see the lies in this world.
What are you talking about? That's me.
Yeah, they told you
My
that.
mom
Oh,
used-
that's right. You told me
My
that.
mom used to say
You
shit
told
like
me
that.
that.
To
You
me.
said that in a previous podcast, didn't you?
I think so, dude. My mom used to be like, listen to me. You know, Robin Williams, he has a learning disability too. Einstein has a learning disability. You are just as, you know, and my mom meant well, but it was like, I was like, no, I'm dumb.
You should. The punchline should be you. My mom hit me when I told her. You know, Mom, Robin Williams' mom drank when she was pregnant too. You know that, right?
Yeah, but what made Robin Williams? It wasn't that he had a disability. It was that his parents fucked him up.
He was neglected. His parents are multimillionaires.
Are they really?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, he didn't grow up poor. He grew up rich.
No shit.
Come on, man. Robin Williams was a mime, bro. Nobody who grew up poor is gonna be a mime.
Yeah, you're right.
Trust me, bro. If you grew up poor, there's no way you're gonna be a mime.
I just imagined you like telling your dad you want to leave for France and become a mime.
Robin Williams used to have he used to have a partner, and they used to perform a mime show in at the park. You could look it up. Yeah, man.
Wow. What a stupid thing to be, bro. There's
There
only
he is,
like
dog. Look at him. Guess how much money he made?
how much? Yeah, dude. I think mime's the dumbest. I still like. I don't include mime, and someone was like, when we did the history of comedy, someone was like, you didn't include mimes, and I was like, and I didn't say anything because I don't want to be a dick, but I'm like, because they're not funny, because they're not part of comedy.
That mime and that type of comedy is comedy, but I would say it's more like I would say it's pre-alternative comedy.
Alternative.
That it just sucks really bad back then.
It sucked back then, and it sucks
Because
now.
they would go there dressed like jesters,
Right.
and not make any noises, and then you gotta watch the whole thing. You gotta laugh.
Yeah.
You know who
dude.
wouldn't put up with that, bro?
Who?
D.W. Griffith.
D.W. Griffith. Or William Mulholland, for that matter.
Or that guy that hired Charlie Chaplin, Sennett. Matt Sennett.
Matt Sennett. All right, ready?
Yeah, man. History for Foos. What's up, man? You guys heard the bell ring, ring, ring. We're right here, man. Right here, we got Butch Escobar wearing his Catholic school shorts.
I know, dude. And then I got my socks today on, but
Looking like Chavo del Ocho over here, eh? Boing.
I meant to bring pants. It was hot, so I was like, I'll just bring pants. In
History
the
for
car.
Fools, man. We read a book. What's the name of the book we read for 2 weeks?
It was the Mirage Factory.
The Mirage Factory, the building and beginning of Los Angeles, California.
By a man named Gary Christ.
Garrick Crisp.
Christ.
What's the name of read the book?
The Mirage Factory: Illusion, Imagination, and the Invention of Los Angeles. Gary Christ.
Yes, you can find that book.
Christ,
You can find that book on Audible. We are not paid to say that.
No, we're not.
But you can also buy the book on Amazon. Buy it cheap. You can buy it for like $5 somewhere.
Right.
Get it used. Read it. Follow along with us.
And this is the first of many series we're going to do on the history of Los Angeles.
Yes, because on this book, they spoke of 3 people, which one of them was William Mulholland. He's the one that
Right.
he's the Mulholland Street. He's the reason we have water. And the other one was
D.W. Griffith.
And the other one was Amy Semple
McPherson.
Semple McPherson, who was the first evangelist of Los Angeles, California. Right. In that big Angeles building you see right there on Echo Park, the big old church, she started that with Zip. And we'll get to that probably in the next couple of weeks, but right now, we're going to focus on William H. Mulholland,
Yeah.
who was the reason that all of us have water in this city, and the reason why the North hates us. And we're going to get to that right now. We're going to talk about William H. Mulholland, and we're going to talk about all the stuff, all the work he did without ever going to college.
That's right. And I have another thing I wanted to add. Dude, so he was a ditch digger. But I had a teacher, because he started out as a ditch digger, and I had a teacher that would always be like, if you don't learn or listen, you're going to become a ditch digger. But I wanted to kind of just lay out the history of because first you got to understand where Los Angeles started. And I was explaining it to Melissa a little bit before we started the podcast, because after I finished this book, I still wanted to know why why Los Angeles is here, why it exists.
Los Angeles was Los Angeles and most of California, which was back when it was Spain. It was Baja and Alta California,
right?
Which was Alta means for higher North California. And
okay.
it was the Spaniards came here 400 years ago.
No, more
in
than that.
They came here in 15 something.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah.
Well, anyways, they were here first, and the Spaniards never really made it really like a colony. It was just a settlement, and mostly the priests would just come out here and try to fucking make everybody Catholic,
right?
But it wasn't. Then after the Spain left, Mexico took it over, and mostly Northern California was settled first. And I always ask myself, why was the capital of California in Monterey and not in Southern California?
Right.
But in those days, which was 1888, 86, Los Angeles was a desert.
Right.
It was maybe they had 35,000 people there, but it was a desert.
Well,
it was
before that. It was I read up, and when they were settling Northern California, they needed a few places to chill along the way, and one of them was Los Angeles. And they sent out 21 guys or 23 dudes called Pobladores, and they were like what they considered the lowest class, which was black, Indian, and Mexican. And they said, go chill here, set up water, set up food, so when the conquistadors come, they have shit to eat. Because there was nothing here. It was there wasn't even a bay. It was marshland. There was a bay in San Diego and a bay in Monterey. And this was just a stop along the way. It wasn't. There was nothing important. There was a marshland and kind of very not friendly land, and a creek that would dry up every now and then. And that's kind of how the city of LA started.
Yeah, and there was a bunch of it was pretty much the Wild Wild West.
Yeah, dude, it was wild too.
By the time you could take over a whole town in California in the Wild Wild West, and by the time it gets to to Washington D.C., and by the time they send a cavalry, you'll probably be having your whole army ready if you're down.
Yeah, dude, that's what was crazy back then. And and the reason why I think we should map this out is because the idea of Los Angeles is fucking crazy. This city's not even supposed to be here. There's no.
It was a mirage. That's what they call it. It's a mirage.
Hence the name, the Mirage Factory, because it was why would you put a huge city where there's questionable water, and even the water during times when the creek was low, it was pretty much poison. They couldn't drink it because of the alkaline content in it, and it was why would a city exist here, let alone the second largest city in the country? And the most influential city in the world. Because
the air was vast. You had beaches. It could be cold. And they would say stuff that, this air would cure anything.
Right. Yeah, the dry
Liars.
country.
Liars,
And
huh?
there was like, there was ads for like orange, like you could like reach out your window and pick an orange. Liars, bro. It was like you could, and then it was also no foreigners. That was the one thing. It was like,
Yeah, they let
there's
everybody
no
know.
black people, there's no Mexican. It's like the Midwest on the coast.
Yes, the Midwest on the coast. How
Yeah.
boring is that? I would never
Yes.
move there.
And at the same time, you had rich guys that were living here, like Huntington, who Huntington Beach is named after, who was just putting railroads down everywhere. He like before
Everywhere.
Hollywood was like this little like village. It was like 2 or 3 houses, and he just put a railroad out there just to like put it out there, and then he would say, buy land here.
History for Foos. What's up, everybody? I'm too dark, huh?
It is dark. It seems dark.
Yeah, put that one up. That one higher, or this one over here?
It's you. She's saying it's fine. It probably is the.
Okay.
We're probably just seeing the monitor, not.
Yeah, all right. I look like Popeye, bro, from Blood and Blood
You
Out
look-
over here.
Bro, you look dark as fuck, bro.
I look like I was out there on horseback with Mulholland, bro, looking for water.
You look like the uncle that never gets invited to like fucking parties and shit, dude.
I look like a Mexican guy, but with a weird name. Like, what's his cousin's name, bro? His name is Isidro, bro. We call him Chema. Yeah, Ignacio.
He does. He looks hella dark on this side. It's
Ignacio
fucking hilarious, dude.
Negrete.
Like he's as dark as Popeye,
Look at my hands, bro.
bro.
If I would have grabbed a lady with these hands, she'll look at me and goes, who attacked you, a Mexican? No, it was a black man. A very dark Middle Eastern man with 3 puntos on his hand. You want some chonch?
Bro, you really do. I wish I could take a picture of that. Like,
I look like a bad guy in a Bollywood movie,
it's
bro.
just the screen on this side, but man, he does look so dark, bro. Look at
Orale. This in the joint with a nice cat and 3 meals a day.
3 meals and a hot car. 3 hots and a cot. Oh, bro.
That fool's ugly, huh?
That's
in that movie.
so ugly, bro. He's so ugly and scary, dude.
History for Fools. The Mirage that was called Los Angeles. So, William H. Mulholland, he was born in Ireland, in Dublin.
Yes.
And he was raised with his father and his brother.
Right.
And then his mother passed away and his dad remarried. And later on, his stepmom had 2 other kids because she wanted kids of her own.
Mm-hmm.
And the 2 brothers, William Mulholland and his brother, I can't think of his brother's name right now, but they were getting a reputation in Dublin and Ireland of being these kids who are bad, who are messing around. So the dad, I don't know what the dad told him, but Mulholland just fucking said, screw this, and he left. He left his house with his brother, and they went on to work on a boat.
Like 14,
For
too.
14, bro. At 14, he got on a boat to work on a boat as a merchant marine.
Bro, I was living
You know
out.
they must have lied to him, bro. There's gonna be lots of journeys.
Yeah. Oh,
And he worked on this boat for many, many years. And one day he realized, Mulholland realized, you know what, man, this is not for me. A man is never gonna get rich inside this boat. A man will never have materialistic things if he's working on his boat. So he got off the boat, and then they went back to Ireland, huh?
Right.
And his stepfather and mom, they were gonna make a journey to America, but him and his brother didn't have a ticket.
Right.
So they were castaways on that boat till they caught them in Panama.
Yeah, that's right.
And Mulholland and his brother had to get off in Panama, and they had to work like dogs,
Yes.
bro.
And then they had to
They were
walk.
building the Panama Canal at the time.
Right.
So that's when they first started learning how to ditch.
Right.
So him and his brother
that's
worked their
right.
ass off, and then once they worked their payment for the trip, they dropped them off in Cologne.
Right.
And then from there, they went on to work on another boat. So they finally made it back to America, and they were working for his uncle's store.
Right.
And then from there on, he decided that hey, I can't work at my dad's store no more, and he went west. And he saw a man that was digging for water.
Yes.
And he
was leaving, and he was gonna go get on a boat, right?
Yeah, and he saw a man digging, and he goes, "Man, can I?" And then from there, Mahale started working with him. And let me tell you something, Mahale, that fool, he dropped out of junior high and high school.
Yes.
But he could learn how to read. And he always said, every man needs to know how to read to get a better life,
Dude,
to move on in life.
This guy's amazing.
So this fool,
in certain ways.
he learned everything by reading, bro. Like reading, he to read fast. From this point on, when he got that job with that guy, he was digging. He was like just digging ditches with this guy for a long time, and working hard. This guy never took a day off.
No,
he worked every single day.
Bro,
and he one of those dudes that be eating like your tío, bro. He be eating a burrito and with the other hand slamming rocks with a hammer, bro. You know how old school, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Breastfeeding and breastfeeding your kid and spanking a white kid with the other hand, eh?
Right. Yeah, he I liked one of the quotes that was in the book was like, he was like, if I ever found anything more entertaining than working hard, I would leave work to do it. And that's why he never retired. Like, he loved doing what he did so much.
And one time he was working real hard and nonstop, and the boss came in. And they asked him, hey, man, can I talk to you a minute? He told him, get the fuck out of here, man. I'm working.
The owner.
Get the fuck out of here. I'm working.
On him while he was digging a ditch.
He was digging a ditch. Get the fuck out of here, man. I got to finish this thing by the end of the day. And then he goes, so what happened? Did you fire him? No, man. I gave that for a promotion.
Yep.
And he became the supervisor. And
yes.
from there on, he started learning pretty much like what a botanist and a geologist would start learning along the way.
Right, right. Yeah, and he learned engineering on his own, and
self-taught.
And he was self-taught, and he worked his way up through the water company. And one of the things that's amazing is that so as they're laying pipe and putting down things throughout the city.
I was laying pipe earlier, bro.
I knew that was gonna and then as they're talking about laying pipe, I kept thinking that too.
Pipazos, homie.
But they're not really like writing down what they're doing. And Mulholland has it in his mind. So one day they need to come up with the entire map of the city's water system, and he draws it out by hand and by memory.
Yes, he drew
every single facet, like even the valves.
He drew the whole valve and the whole plan out for the water system of Los Angeles in his head.
Right.
And he learned that because he remembered all those holes he dug around the city.
Yeah.
And he always took notes. He was like a land surveyor by looking at the land. And he knew because he dug holes in it.
That's amazing, bro. That's like becoming a private in the army and then one day becoming president. You know, like that's his trajectory. Like
he said he ran every work crew like a military.
Right.
Remember he said, I never was in the army, but I know how to run a work crew.
Right. Yeah, and he worked with them. And there's something that I thought of because he was really loved by his men, like because they worked fast for him.
They worked fast, saved money too.
Yeah, and they saved him money. And I remember reading The Art of War, and there's this quote by Sun Tzu where it's like, treat your men like they're your sons and your nephews, and they'll do anything for you. And I think that's what the thing was, is that because he worked hard too. Like there's a story in the book where he had there was a flood or something where he had to fix the water, and it was like 3 weeks they were working out there, and he only came in to change his clothes and go back out and work, and he never rested until it was done. And like he stunk and he was all fucked up. Regard your soldiers as your children, and they will follow you into the deepest valleys. Look upon them as your beloved sons, and they will stand by you even unto death. I fucking believe in that, bro.
That's how the comedian Monique talked to her fans, my babies.
Yeah, dude. That's why they love her. Yeah, that's the thing, man. She, and I think he did that. I think there's something to be said about a leader that gets in the trenches with you and like starts working next to you. And so I think that's what made him so great. That's where he became this great facet of water and power.
Los Angeles was the 36th biggest city in the country back then.
Right.
To let you know how small
We're talking like
Los Angeles was. Indianapolis had more people in Indianapolis than Los Angeles back then. And you can believe this, Toledo, Ohio, a city that we probably have 4 times their.
Oh yeah,
they were bigger than us, and Los Angeles started growing at a fast rate at this time, because people were coming in. Oh man, it's the best place to live. There's a lot of independence out here. Blah blah blah. So the water was getting low.
Right. Yeah, so what's causing this growth?
And let's talk about droughts.
Is that you have the Northern Pacific Railroad that comes in, and then you have
Santa Fe.
Right, and then you have the Santa Fe Railroad.
And then Topeka came in.
And then Topeka, and so they're all competing.
And the biggest city is San Francisco at the time.
Right, so all the prices are going down. I think at one time you can get, like it said, you can get a ride from San Francisco to LA for $1.
A ride. Then because they used to be the ticket back then when there was one railroad, it was Chicago to Los Angeles, $100.
Right.
And then it drops. There was so much competition, $1.
Right. So people are coming in droves, and the city's growing exponentially, and they need to cover water. And just so you guys know, man, when I first started reading about this, I thought the Mulholland part of the book was going to be the most boring, because who gives a fuck about lakes and waters and reservoirs? Because I drive by those all the time. Oceans are beautiful. They have waves. There's sand. The beach is fucking rad. So I've always been more excited about that. This has piqued my interest. Water is so important. It's so valuable. And when I hear people go, oh, in the future, they're going to be jacking people for water. Guess what, motherfuckers? They've been jacking people for water. That's what this whole podcast is going to be about.
They're jacking people for water right now.
Right now, they're jacking people for water.
You think you have water? I'm drinking your milkshake, baby.
Dude, good. Hey, honestly, good luck. Good luck.
Just imagine there will be blood, but just change it to there will be water.
Right. Yes.
I have another well over there. No, you don't. My straw is longer.
Yeah, pretty much, bro. Pretty much. And that's the thing, is that you have William Mulholland now, who's at the top of the food chain.
And he's in charge of water for Los Angeles.
Right.
And we're gonna move a little ahead right now, but because I also went on a rabbit hole on YouTube. Remember I talked to you about this?
Yes.
On Monterey, about that. They talked to the native tribes that were living by the Owen Valley.
Right, okay.
Because the Owen Valley, we'll talk about that later, but that's where Mulholland went to get that water.
Right.
But before that, I told you I went to that YouTube thing,
Uh-huh.
and this guy was talking about these natives that were native to that area.
Okay.
Who were living there forever.
Okay.
He said, I saw the first white man in 1888.
Good Lord.
And these guys, he mentioned like how many times they got visits from people, right? And those natives already had their own water irrigation, bro.
Okay.
They had figured it out themselves. Remember we spoke about that?
I think I know where you're going with this.
Yes, and they saw their maps.
Yes. And they're like,
yeah, you go ahead. You remember.
We're going to jack these guys for their plans.
Yeah, so
yes.
These Native Americans there, I can't think of their names right now, but they were the natives of Owen Valley. They had their own irrigation system, and they were also getting fed from the water in the river there. And they had like ways, they dug trenches and holes to lead water into their villages.
Right.
And this is something they've been doing for like over 200 years. And they were
using gravity.
And they were doing it for 200 years.
Yes, and they were using straight gravity to bring water down from the mountains into their lower gardens.
So,
fascinating.
The future mayor of Los Angeles was a guy named Fred Eaton.
Right.
But before he was mayor of Los Angeles, he was also working with Mulholland for the water department, and he was pretty much at this time Mulholland's partner, or his boss.
He's his buddy. He's like their best friend.
They're his best friend.
His boss too. Yeah.
And Frederick Eaton, he had rode a horse to Owen Valley in 1888-89.
Right.
And he started seeing that the water there, and he started buying land around the area in the beginning.
Right.
And he was the first guy to notice those Native Americans' water system.
Right.
Because and then he went back again the second time, and then he made a private trip with William H. Mulholland. Together they went together, and all they brought was whiskey. Remember they said they brought whiskey?
Yeah, they just took a whiskey. They're called whiskey trips.
Buckboard
whiskey trip.
They cut it the whiskey trip. All this, they did it behind. They did it without telling the city of Los Angeles, by the way.
Anybody.
Because, it was for the better of Los Angeles. Everything was just for Los Angeles.
Right.
It wasn't for City of Commerce. It wasn't for Montebello. It was for L.A., baby.
Right.
So these guys, they go up there, and they start noticing the Owen Valley. And
yes.
Butch, you know more about that.
So at this time, LA is getting enough water from the river, and Eaton's slowly buying up
the Los Angeles River.
Yes, and Eaton's slowly looking at property, and he's like trying to convince Mulholland, listen, we're gonna need water eventually, and you're gonna want to get water from here. And Mulholland,
he didn't believe him at first.
He was like, "Get the fuck out!" He would laugh at him. He'd be like, "We're gonna bring water from 400 miles away down to here, into L.A. We'll never need that much water." And so, at some point, the city starts to grow because of the rail prices getting cheaper, and like I said, it grows exponentially. And it's a place also for poor people. That's the thing, is that it's a place for poor people to come. It's affordable. There's jobs, all kinds of industries there, like tires and like rubber and plastics, and it's already a city of industry. And so he does need water. So he goes on this trip 400 miles north to the Owens Valley, and they survey this lake that is shallow. Now, just to give you an idea of the size of this lake, let's say you take a tub the size of San Francisco and you make it 10 feet deep. That's how much water, and it's about 10 feet all the way. Because that's what you need in order to bring water through, is you need something shallow, because Eaton's idea and Mulholland's idea, and it's claimed it's Mulholland's invention, but this was actually the Native Americans' invention, was to use gravity, because the Owens Valley
it's 4,000 feet above sea level.
Can you throw up a map of California, just so we can give these, like, if you can find like maybe like a mountainous map, or just any map actually. So you have mountains in the northern and eastern part of California. And so, this is what I've learned. So this is what I've learned is that we actually have more water. Okay, so you see where the California, the eastern part of California, where it's all green right there in that middle map.
Yeah.
Those are our mountain ranges. And we actually get enough snow and rainfall in those mountains to give us water for years at a time. But the problem that California has is that we don't have anywhere to keep it. Now, see where that brown shit is right there in the middle?
Yeah.
That's the valley. Prehistorically, that all used to be one big lake. That used to be called Lake Carl or Lake Corcoran. And after a huge earthquake and slight in like elevation, all that water drained from that brown area into the Bay Area. And that's why it looks like that. It looks like you could actually see how it drained out. So we get all that water from, and then all that brown shit was covered in water. That's how much water this state gets every year, even during drought seasons. So the idea that started to happen in LA kind of invented this. and Mulholland invented this idea is to jack water from that northern area and bring it down into Los Angeles.
Yeah. But first, they had to convince Los Angeles and the city to vote on it.
Right. Well, first you have to convince.
We're going to run out of water.
You have to convince both people at the same time.
Owens Valley too, huh?
Because you got to go to Owens Valley. And what was fucked up, bro, is that. So
they were thinking about doing that, but they were too late.
So first of all, no, the feds were like. So what happened is the feds put aside money. And this is in the first part of the book. And I'm glad that I read the first chapter of the book this morning, because I totally forgot about this. Because he talks about it very slightly. So the feds actually put aside money to make water, to make the reservoir feed all the farms in the Owens Valley and to make the Owens Valley flourish more. And there was a guy that worked inside with that program that was friends with Eaton. And remember, him and Eaton go on a couple of like trips and hang out. And that same trip is where he discovers the Owens Valley, because he's showing them the Owens Valley. So he tells that guy, give me the plans that the federal government's going to use so we could use it for LA. And at this point, this guy, I think his name's Fredericks, goes, his choice is to either, because he knows he's doing the wrong thing in the way of stealing the plans out of the Owens Valley people and giving it to the LA people. But his whole thing was, it's going to serve a greater purpose. Because the other thing you're going to find as we go along here is are these people good people? Are they bad people? And so that's the thing. And so now you have him giving the plans over to Mulholland, and Eaton is starting to buy up property around lakes, right? Like he's starting to buy up property around all these like lakes and like there's this one big property. What was the name of that property, dude? The something Valley Ranch. I can't remember the name of it, but he buys that, and it has that huge reservoir on it.
Owen Valley Ranch.
It's something like that. It's something else, like Kid Kiki Ranch or something like that. Anyway, they buy this ranch with this huge piece of water on it, and then they buy all these pieces of property along the river. And then Owens Valley people think that this guy is just buying up property to live there, and that he's going to create jobs there, and he's going to create water there, and they're still thinking this money from the feds is coming to them, and it's not. It's going to L.A. And so they start to get people to vote on it, and the city votes on it. And then once that measure is passed, that's when they start to build the aqueduct from Owens Valley to L.A. And that's kind of where the exciting shit happens, because like Owens Valley people are starting to realize they're getting fucking robbed and that they're getting ripped off, and so they're starting to revolt and get upset. So
when he builds when he built the aqueduct, as soon as he builds the aqueduct, water started flowing to Los Angeles like you wouldn't believe.
Yes.
And Los Angeles started growing at 150,000 people every 10 years, every year.
Right.
They say that they're going to have it was just growing so fast. I mean, as soon as the water started coming in, man, rich people started getting swimming pools.
Right. Well, and they
were mad.
The place
bro.
grows exponentially. Now,
and this is how we got all those beautiful lakes in Los Angeles.
Right. Yeah.
Echo Park.
Yes.
Echo Park, MacArthur Park.
Yeah.
Every beautiful lake you see in Los Angeles, Toluca Lake was put in at this time to attract all the white people to come here.
So before this starts to happen, though, they're like bombing. There's like almost a whole civil war that happens in California.
Man.
They start blowing up the aqueduct, and
they blew up an aqua at the beginning of the book. They talk about there's in 1919, I think.
Yeah, 1919.
They blew up the aqueduct over there in Owens Valley, and the water rushed down to Los Angeles.
Right.
And it was they were wasting millions of gallons.
Well, there's like so many times. So like they build the aqueduct. It takes like 10 years.
I'll buy a bed.
All right, just to give you guys an idea, if you've ever driven out of LA towards like Northern California, right before you hit the Grapevine, you see that water coming down on those steps. It looks like a
By
rat.
Dodger Stadium, before you get to Dodger Stadium. As soon as you leave the San Fernando Valley,
Yeah.
look to the right.
It's called the Cascades.
The Cascades.
And that's where the aqueduct ends and the water into LA begins.
There's aqueducts in the San Fernando Valley. Also, it's good to note that San Fernando Valley was annexed into the city of Los Angeles because they wanted water.
Whoa, that's the other thing.
Gangsters.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, we gotta talk about that. Holy
cities,
shit.
dog.
So LA is small. It's actually tiny. So take away the San Fernando Valley right now and just think about what LA is after that. And it's kind of smaller than that. And so what happens is that the LA passes an ordinance that says you can't borrow more than 10% of what the city has. And so he needs tons of money to make this aqueduct work. So he annexes the San Fernando Valley. In one fell swoop, he makes a vote through the city to annex the San Fernando Valley, and then overnight, not only does the city population double, it fucking triples.
It triples, and
also there's water reserves in San Fernando Valley. Reserves.
Bro, and we built a dam. They built a dam in San Fernando Valley, and I didn't know. I knew that. I didn't know this. I kind of didn't know this, but I thought I knew it, but I don't know shit, dog. That Mulholland not only thought about to feed everybody the water for consumption, but also water creates power,
right?
And there was a power plant, right?
Yeah, hydroelectric,
which I didn't know.
Yeah, he was creating hydroelectric like pinpoints along the aqueduct. So every time there was a fall of water, it goes faster. He's creating hydroelectricity, which is completely free for the city. Like, so he's making 100% profit off of power in the city. Isn't that?
Also, when they were making up the plans to bring all that water from Owens Valley, like Butch said earlier, it was built on a 4,000. It was the river was in a 4,000 feet elevation. So it was easy for that shit to flow all the way down into San Fernando Valley.
Right.
And they had, how many crews did they have, bro? Because they were cementing the whole 400 miles, right?
Right, yeah. So some of it's underground and a little bit of it's above ground. But most of that aqueduct is 400 miles of tunnels. And it's, and they're pouring, he's making it so.
And they had to dug them all out, huh?
The company at the time had its own cement company, and he was making his own cement. He had his own cement formula, which pops up later in the story. But yeah, he's employing armies of men to build this thing.
Armies.
And at the same time, Owens Valley is like, we're fucked because all that federal money that was supposed to go to them now goes to building this aqueduct. So he gets money from that. He starts borrowing money from wherever he can. He starts annexing fucking crazy amounts of cities. So this is another thing. Did you know that San Fernando Valley and Los Angeles City were supposed to be like the twin cities? It was supposed to be that San Fernando Valley was supposed to grow on its own.
Yeah.
And become its own metropolis.
But it didn't.
It didn't get to do that because this water pirate comes in and starts snatching fools, and that's the thing, man, is like this whole thing is about stealing water from innocent people.
Even Santa Monica is part of Los Angeles.
That's right. Yeah, they start to acquire Santa Monica. There's a timeline.
And
Venice Beach. Well, that's a lot of Huntington. I can't remember his first name.
No, Venice Beach was built by another guy that was real rich. His name is Albert Kinney.
Okay, all right. This guy right here, though, also was like setting down tracks.
This guy was a track guy, and also there was another guy who died in 1935. His name was Doheny.
Right.
Doheny is basically what that movie There Will Be Blood is based on.
Yes, the oil stuff.
Edward L. Doheny.
Right. And that's the thing is LA's booming at this time. Booming. It's got a lot of places. And then also the thing is that what calmed the Owens Valley down at the time was that as the trains coming through and water's coming through, it's irrigating farms throughout the valley now, because in order to get the water to LA, Mulholland had to make some concessions to the farmers. And so now they're not only getting to grow their product, they're sending it on trains into LA, and that's creating more jobs. So LA is growing, and it's becoming bigger. You have the movie industry, you have the plane industry, you have the rubber industry, you know, and that's what we're going to talk about next time is the movie industry. Yeah. But we're still talking about water because we get to a point where we run out of water again.
Getting back to the water wars, there was a point where Los Angeles was going to send militia over there, huh?
Yes.
To kick ass
to go fight
and investigate who caused this problem.
Right. Yeah. And there was actually the standoff. Do you remember reading about the standoff?
Yeah.
Where then this is the final end.
This is like the people don't talk about it, but this was turning into a civil war.
This was turning into a real civil war because you had cops standing off with other cops, standing off with citizens, and you have people protecting each other. You know, you have citizens standing in front of the group that's like holding, because now you have like a group of people that's holding. So they blow up this one part of the dam or the aqueduct.
They fixed that shit right away.
Well, no, there's that one part where the water's pouring out, and those guys show up with guns, and they're holding back the repairmen from fixing it. And then this is what kind of ends the water wars, is that there's a standoff, and then they fake make a deal with the people of the Owens Valley that they're going to work it out and they're going to get their water back. And then they relent, they back down, they fix the dam, and then they arrest all the people who are involved, and then they abolish the committee that was helping the Owens Valley, and then that kills.
And then they're bankrupts.
And then the bank, that's right, because they start convicting those guys, and they find out that the bank has been funding the bombers.
And then they lose money. Other farmers lose
money.
Right.
So then Owens Valley goes bankrupt. Everybody moves out, but at the same time, guess what? Owens Valley is drying out.
Yes, and William Mulholland needs more water.
Right.
So then he asked Mayor Eaton, who is not mayor anymore, he asked him if he wants to sell that part of the land that he owns, which has a shitload of water.
Right.
He said $1 million.
Right.
They told him no.
And at that time, that's like a fuck ton of money.
A shitload.
Yeah, $1 million in 1930, 1925. You know, whenever this is happening. And you got to remember, this is happening in a 15 to 20 years time frame. We're at the beginning in 1900. William Mulholland believes that there's enough water to give to everybody, that they don't need to get it from anybody. Now they're not only drying out the fucking Owens Valley, they're drying out the Mono Valley. And so he goes to this
Mono Lake.
Yeah, he goes to this guy Eaton, and he says, "Hey man, that property you bought, can I get it now?" And he says, "Yeah, for $1 million." Because their relationship is strained for some reason. Yeah,
it got really estranged after when he offered that much for the city, and they didn't want to pay that much.
Right.
But eventually, towards the end of the book, we find out that Fred Eaton ended up selling his land for $600,000.
Right, but not before though.
He loses a lot of stuff.
Well, not before fucking Mulholland gets desperate and decides to build a dam in the San Francisco Canyon.
It was called the St. Francis Dam, and he built it too high.
Too high. So what happens is that he's only supposed to build it so high, but because
there it is,
and he's actually wants to plan to build it where Eaton has his reservoir, but he goes to this place and he puts up a dam and it's only supposed to be so high. But he gets a little greedy with the water, so he makes it 100 feet higher, and then he adds 10 more feet to that. But the problem that he didn't calculate is that the two sides of the dam, can you zoom into just the dam part? So the two sides of the dam, near the bottom, if you can actually see the different types of rock. So that's a soapier, looser rock. And when you have that type of rock, you need to build a wider base, because the dam is too thin, and especially for that size. And if
you were there, hot dog.
If you look over to the left, you have the wing of the dam. And he built that to kind of protect the top. He felt that extra part would keep the dam from collapsing. And what happens You want to tell the rest of this?
It started raining like hell, bro.
Yeah.
You know how those torrential LA rains that happens, and wasn't there some kind? I read in a book that there was a guy who said, "Hey man, I don't think this dam's gonna hold. You better get the hell out of here."
Yeah, it started it. So
Who are these guys that knew?
They were the
people
guys
that worked there, huh?
They were the guys working the dam.
Engineers.
They started to notice cracks.
Shit.
And they let Mulholland know, and Mulholland's
It'll
like,
be all right. Put some duct tape.
It'll be all right. Just put some putty up in that bitch.
He said put putty, huh?
Yeah, and in a way, bro, he's right. There is. So if you go to like any dam that you could walk through, like that's huge like that.
Put a little gum, bro, like Chevy Chase did.
There's cracks. There's cracks in every dam. It happens. It's concrete. But these guys were like, these cracks are significant and they happen quick. And when you have cracks that happen quick like that, like if you go to like the Hoover Dam, there's cracks. But those cracks formed over time.
Yeah, Chevy Chase put a gum on it, bro, in that movie Vacation.
That's right.
Las Vegas Vacation.
That's right, dude.
But imagine, bro, see how big the Hoover Dam is? Mulholland Dam was bigger than that, or the same? Not as strong.
I don't remember.
But all the Hoover Dam there was based on his ideas too, right?
Right. All dams, this guy, let's not forget he built 19 dams and one of them one of them failed.
Yeah.
And that's this one. And what happens is they go back, okay, and this is the craziest part.
Don't judge me on my victories, judge me on my failures.
Yeah, bro.
Because I only have one.
That's exactly what's happening here. And in a way, I mean, bro, it's a huge catastrophic.
It was like, imagine like this water is in the, I don't know where exactly it is in the valley.
Right.
But the water rushed all the way down to Pacoima, San Fernando.
First, before we get to that,
and La Paula.
Let's talk about that. They call them in, and they say there's water, there's milky water coming from the bottom of the dam, which means that the cement is giving out, and it's creating it to look like that. And he goes, "Nah, it's dirt from when they were building the roads." He leaves. 10 hours later, the dam collapses. Fucking collapses. Can you show a picture of the collapsed St. Francis Dam?
People could hear like trees breaking up.
This dam is, I think, 150 feet tall. I don't think it's as big as the Hoover Dam, but it's huge. 150, like 200 feet is huge. I believe it's that tall. I can't remember, but it's huge, and it's holding over 1 billion gallons of water. And so that's what it looks like. Yeah, go to that one on the far left over there. That one, yeah. That's what it looks like. So if you imagine that middle part, that's the most structured part of the dam.
That's where it broke, huh?
And that's where it broke. So the right and the left, is where and then you can actually see the dam on the left picture right there where it looks built, and then that's what it looks like after. And so this is over 1 billion gallons of water that flows down into this valley and takes out
animals.
Dude, animals, towns. Dude, the best part of the book is this, because and me and you both said it was like a movie. It was like watching a movie, because the first guy tells his buddy, right?
Take off.
He goes, "Take off, don't stay there." And the guy goes, "I'm gonna sleep with my
I'm gonna leave in the morning.
I'll leave in the morning."
Gone.
And he wakes up and hears the dam breaking, and he goes outside to see the water coming towards him. He doesn't have any time. He only gets to tell his family that it's happening. And then the water, this huge 100-foot wall of water, hits him. He gets pushed up onto the roof, and at the same time, the force of the water takes all his clothes off. He gets pushed up onto his roof. The roof of the house gets blasted off the house and is now like a surfboard on this wave, and he's fucking floating on it naked on the roof. And then it lands somewhere on the side and shit, and it keeps going.
Bro, I didn't know how strong a flood is till I read that, till I got to that part of the book. He said there was a guy that was being pummeled, bro, by pounds of water.
Yes.
Barbed wire hitting his ass from somebody's farm.
Yes.
A cow hitting his head.
Houses.
Dead animals
carts.
rushing. Wood. Fucking cars.
So the other thing too is
Mulholland's hat.
So to give you an idea of what water does, it also, as it's going out, as it's flooding out, it's creating more. It's like, so it's picking up all that shit, but it's picking up the ground as well. So it's building a trench as it's moving through. So you're not just getting hit with clear water. You're getting hit with like muddy, murky, like a huge muddy, murky wave of houses, poles, barbed wire, carts, animals.
Dude, how about that Mexican man? And I could play him in the movie. The Mexican man that he grabs he was like, there was a guy, there were a lot of rich people that owned land in that valley, right?
Yeah.
And some of them were lucky enough to sleep in their second home in San Fernando,
Right.
But their farm hands and their animals were still in the farm,
Right.
And they were done. But there was a farm hand that was working there. He grabbed his big family, and they say big family,
Right.
and he's driving away. And he goes to warn a neighbor.
Yes.
And when he gets back to the car, the whole car, everything's gone. And his family.
Yeah. What about the guy? Yeah, that
The water went all the way, and after it got off in 1 hour and fucked up everything in the valley, the water rushed over and fucked up people all the way to Santa Paula.
What about the guy that got on his motorcycle?
There was an actor who was a stunt man.
Yes.
And he used to ride a motorcycle in Hollywood. This guy got in his motorcycle and made a U-turn and into the flood, into the wall of the water.
Yeah.
And he started riding real fast, trying to avoid it, telling everybody the water is coming. They call him like the Paul Revere
of the flood. But so he has to ride out, and he rides into the water. Like the first wave, the like undertow hits his bike. He blasts off out of there, and then the flood's coming over his bike, and he just takes off.
They say that,
dude, that is like amazing. Dude, I was like, this is like a fucking movie.
Fucking disaster. This fucking water caused, huh?
It's crazy, bro. Yeah, the
200 people died, right?
Over 400 people.
400 people.
400. The estimate is between 430 and 450. They still find the last time they found remains was in 1997.
Yeah, man, they found a paisa lady, bro, in Morro Bay, chilling with an otter. But then remember, anyways, to get back to another episode of our previous episode when we're talking about the steel company and Pittsburgh and Carnegie's partner Flint. Remember that remember that they built that lake, bro,
right,
for the golf course to make it deeper.
Yes.
And then that was not even a dam.
No.
It wasn't even a dam, and it broke.
And then they killed all those people, dude.
And they said they found people from that flood in Pittsburgh all the way to Cincinnati.
Yeah, that's right. Because rushing water is nuts, dude. It's like, it's so fast.
You don't want to fuck with water, dog.
And that's the thing is this dam was supposed to, at the time, feed Los Angeles for over a year. It was a reserve in case the Owens Dam had broken, and that's what's crazy about this, man, is like this flood breaks, it kills everybody. That's disastrous. It takes out like 3 cities, and Mulholland's done, bro. He's fucking. He's held accountable for all of this.
And then the people were killing him, huh?
Yeah. The
Herald Examiner and LA Times.
Yeah, they were saying quit your job and that he should be held on charges. And I think at some point the district attorney even said, if I find out that there was any fault, like structurally, then I'm going to have murder indictments coming.
When they woke up William Mulholland to tell him that the dam broke,
yeah,
his first words were this: I really hope nobody died.
Right. Yeah, dude. That's not gonna happen. Dude, that's crazy to me, dude. Like, can you imagine sitting in your bed, you're at home and you don't that was the thing, is the people in Ventura and in that area had no idea that there was even a dam built back that far. Like there's you don't even know, bro. You're just
a lot of Mexicans living that were flooded out.
At that time, it was almost all Mexicans living in that valley. In that part of the area.
That water pushed us into the city. There's a lot of Mexicans in East LA now.
Is that what happened? Is that they
Boyle
all got
Heights,
washed
yeah.
into East LA?
Because we were washed up into Riverside. Look it up.
They just surfed over there? Google that shit,
We
bro.
didn't surf, bro. We were on a 2x4, bro.
That truck. Remember that truck we saw, the boat truck? They were on that. Anyway. Yeah, so
The cleanup must have been crazy, huh?
cleanup must have been crazy. It ruined Mulholland, I think, in a way. And that's...
When Mulholland went to court,
Uh-huh.
they said that he looked 80 years old. That fucking disaster
yeah,
aged him.
fucked him up, bro. I think, because honestly, man, because here's the thing is like you look at a guy, and I had the same dilemma with Napoleon. And we were talking about this with Melissa before we started. It was like, is he a bad guy or is he a good guy? Because honestly, this city wouldn't be what it is today without him. And it did.
He built Los Angeles with water.
He built Los Angeles water. He built, that's the thing is I really feel
He's
like
the reason we're not thirsty.
out of all the people in that book, Mulholland is the reason why Los Angeles
It's like saying God is a bad person. He killed his son.
Right. Yeah, you got to do
But
something,
for what,
right? Because that's
For
the
our
thing, man,
sins.
is like I found myself liking Mulholland.
I did.
Even after this disaster, I found myself liking him. And I feel bad that it happened, but, because when they talk about him in court, he was like, listen, I'm taking the blame for this. But I will say that by my own standards, I built 19 dams. I really didn't think anything was wrong. Even when I went to go look at it, I didn't think anything was wrong.
They never fired him, bro. He was still helping them out.
They didn't even fire him. He stayed on as a consultant until he died. And that was the thing, is that after all that happened, that's when Eaton sells the dam for $500,000. $600,000
to the city, and then they become friends again.
What a fucking piece of shit, dude. That's the part that makes me mad. That's where I go, I don't like nobody, bro.
Why? Which part?
Because it's like, oh, we're all
Fred
friends
Eaton?
now?
Frederick Eaton?
400 deaths later? We're fucking friends now? You fucking decide to fucking sell it to me now? If you wanted to ask me who I think the piece of shit was, it was Fred Eaton. Fred Eaton was a real, because he didn't get it, he didn't do anything great. He just made money and then fucked everything
He
up.
knew how to put people together to make something happen, huh?
He did. I mean, yeah, it wouldn't have been possible without him. But I do feel like, bro, he was just mad at fucking Mulholland, and that's why he wouldn't go down on the price. Because when they originally bought it, he said that he would sell it to Mulholland at land value.
And to this day, man, people still they're still mad about that we took their water, huh?
Yes. Yeah. You were saying that?
Yeah, that Saul Trujillo was doing a show somewhere in that area, and he was talking shit about the town, how boring it is. Then he mentioned water, and then some old lady yelled out, "Don't you fucking talk about our water, motherfucker!"
Yeah, dude. They're mad about it still. I can see that, though.
And then one time I was performing, and there was a band from Stockton.
Right.
They're called Cake. And
I love that band.
They're performing in L.A. And he goes, "Yeah, Angelino."
I didn't know they were from Stockton.
He goes, "Angelinos, what? We're here. We're the band Cake. Thank you for taking all our water." I yelled out, "Fuck you! Sing the song. You want water? I'll give you a cup." But I didn't know the whole water war, bro. But hey, he wants to start it, bro. I'm ready, dog.
Yeah, dude.
I'm ready, bro. I'm ready to fight
for my
water
now
rights.
We gotta keep our water, bro.
Yeah, but in the end, now Owen Valley never really grew to any type of city that was prosperous.
No, and it's now if you go up. So here's the deal. This is the other thing. So at one point it started. We dried Owens. So L.A.
It's like we sucked them dry, huh?
L.A. gets no water from Owens Valley anymore because guess what? There is no water in Owens Valley. And at one point it was so dry. And what happens when you have a dry lake is that all the alkaline, all the settlement, all the shit settles to the bottom and dries up. On warm, windy days, on hot, windy days, it turns into a very poisonous dust. So they had to make a deal with the city, and the city fought it still to at least put enough water to where it didn't get dusty. So just basically a shallow layer all across the lake bed. And then as a truce, not that long ago, only a few years ago, the city gave them like a monument popped up overnight in the middle of the lake, for supposedly the people of Owens Valley. But and that's not the end of LA water, and that's the thing here is that we're still not at the end of LA water, like because after that happened, they take the Mono Lake, they take Lower Mono, and Lower Mono dries out, and now we're taking from the Colorado River. And the justification was for that, all this water was going out into the Pacific, so why don't we take that runoff? Well, now the Colorado's going dry. So we got to figure out new ways to come up, with water here in California, in Southern California.
Sure. I don't know if you read this, but I did read it.
Uh-huh.
I just looked it up right now because you can look it up. It's 2 California lakes are making a comeback with different results.
Yes.
And
I know this. I love this.
It says that the return of Owens Lake threatens billions of dollars in efforts to stem air pollution, while the resurgence of Mono Lake is generating cautious optimism.
Ooh.
Owens Lake and Owens Valley in Lone Pine, California on March 23rd. That's because of all that rain. Some of California's biggest lakes are making a dramatic comeback as the state's big melt of snowpack reshapes the landscape in historic and perhaps unexpected ways. Owens Lake was dried up in the 1920s after its streams were diverted to quench the thirst of Los Angeles, has reemerged as the new water on a dry lake bed, threatened to damage infrastructure designed to keep down dust, a problem that emerged when the lake was drained decades ago. We were just talking about that.
Right, yeah. Yeah, and there's Tulare Lake as well.
Hey.
There it is. There's the article.
Yeah, man. Dude, let me tell you, man. If that lake comes back, our pipes are still there.
Right. We're still ready to suck it down. Hey, don't think you're going to hang on to that, Owens Valley. Hey.
Don't fuck around, Owens.
Don't fuck around, Owens Valley. We're taking your shit as soon as you get it.
And then like, a lot of stuff is being built.
Our straw's bigger.
Our straw's bigger, man. There's somebody from Owens Valley going to put a hit on you, bro.
I know, dude. Is there gangs in Owens Valley?
They're going to hit you with a water balloon full of dust.
Hey, so, this led me to go on kind of a deep dive on, because now I wanted to learn how how reservoirs work, how they're made.
How do they work? I always thought, like, when I see the reservoirs and I see the water flowing down the aqueduct when we're driving up north,
right?
I feel like any motherfucker. Oh, by the way, that bombing of the dam back then, that was considered a domestic terror attack.
Absolutely. So all the water goes to treatment plants now. So it doesn't matter if it's open or not. You could go ahead and take a shit inside the fucking the Mendota Canal. It doesn't matter. It's not going to affect anybody that drinks it because it goes through heavy treatment, and it goes underground at first too. And the one thing though that I wanted to talk about when I started doing this deep dive was the return of one in particular prehistoric lake. Have you heard about this lake?
No.
Look, can you look up Lake Tulare, please? So this lake has been in existence since prehistoric times. Now, remember I talked about all of California, all the valley being one lake at one time, Lake Corcoran?
Yeah.
So after the earthquake happened and there was some seismic activity, like I said, San Francisco dropped down in lower elevation, and then all the water from the valley drained into San Francisco, which created the bay. The only thing left was Lake Tulare, and Lake Tulare existed for another, I think 200,000 years before we drained it ourselves. So we drained this lake out of using it for other stuff for the all over California. We drained this lake, and because it was so dry for so long, we started to build towns inside of the area that this lake exists. And then because of last year's winter and atmospheric river, and then now we had an atmospheric river this year, that lake has made a huge comeback. And there's parts of towns that are missing. There's homes that are underneath this lake now. And if we keep going the way that we are for at least another couple of years, this will be a full-on lake again.
So we have more water.
And it'll be the largest lake west of the Mississippi. It might even... So if you think about it, this lake, once it gets filled again, will be 800 square miles. Just to give you an idea, Lake Tahoe is 150 square miles.
You know, when I say, like, when it made me think about a lot of things, you know, about Los Angeles, but I used to always say, oh, because it starts raining a lot, right? It starts raining.
Yeah.
And then I would say stuff, oh, we could waste water now. It starts raining. But then I remember, now that I know this, our lake should never waste water, bro.
Never.
Because we're a desert.
Right. Well, you're not even supposed to exist.
We're a miracle.
You're a fucking straight...
A mirage.
Yeah, dude, it had no...
Hey, notice how we added palm trees to fool people.
Isn't that crazy, bro? And that's because they just sold... They sold the mirage. It's a mirage in the desert. It's insane how much water this place drinks.
Like, without people like Mulholland, and all these people, it'll just be Indio, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. It's like Coachella Valley, but without the fucking cool music. It would be a dry, arid place. Like, this is the first place conquistadors came the first 3 times to conquer California, and then they went back and said it's not worth it.
Ain't no water here.
It's not. There's nothing there. It's garbage. California.
They took the goat out in 1849, and that was it.
That was it. But you know, I mean, and that's the other thing, man, is that you know, just to touch on this a little bit, California gets its name from a story that was created almost 1,000 years ago about it was about an island of tall black Amazonian naked women, and
give me one,
that owned the streets of gold, that had towns that were paved with gold, and and that's what caused the conquistadors to come here. That's what caused Cortez to come here. We talked about it in the Monterey episode a little bit, but Cortez was delusional, thinking he was going to find this island that was filled with naked women and gold. And he named it California because the queen in that book, her name was Khalifa. And so that's where we get California. And, you know, surprise, surprise, people are still trying to chase this place, thinking that the streets are lined with gold.
History for Fools podcast, Mulholland. By the way, Mulholland did finish the aqueduct and save money for the city.
Lots of money.
Because they were having incentives, man. He was the first guy that said, you want to raise? Nah, let's get everybody pizzas instead.
Yeah, he was the first guy to throw a pizza party for the employees.
And the whole aqueduct was not built. It was not built like, we're gonna build this section first, then we're gonna finish all these sections. It was every part of the mile was being fixed at the same time.
Right.
With crews, kitchen,
they were ahead of schedule.
City. They built cities wherever it was.
Well, and that's the thing is when you drive along the canal line up to Owens Valley, all those little cities in between here and there were like little posts that were made to build those.
That was the first time I haven't finished the whole book in a while, man. But what's the name of the book again?
The Mirage Factory.
The Mirage Factory.
Let me give it to you guys one more time. It's going to be The Mirage Factory, Illusion, Imagination, and the Invention of Los Angeles by Gary Christ.
The Invention of Los Angeles. If you want to look up some names of memorable people from 1900, 1930, one of them is Albert Kinney, Doheny, and Fremont.
That's the other thing is like all the names that come up in these books, I go, oh, that's that street name, or that's that, or that's where that comes from.
And if you want to find movies about the water wars, you can watch that movie with Jack Nicholson. It's called Chinatown. They touch up on it, the water wars.
Okay.
And another movie with Nick Nolte called Mulholland Drive.
Oh, is that what that's about?
Yeah, and another movie is called LA Confidential.
LA Confidential. I remember that movie. Yeah, this is all exciting, man, and it's great because like I appreciate doing this because as I'm, you know, Felipe loves LA. He's from here. He's born and raised out here. I moved here and I find it fascinating. Like I know a lot of history about the Bay Area and that's fun and everything. But to me, finding out all the little parts of LA.
Huh?
So hopefully we'll have, I feel like we should do a series going forward, like and we'll just drop it in slowly, different parts of LA. So if you guys have ideas, especially LA folks, that you want to like, because I want to touch later on at some point, talk about the city that existed where the airport is now.
We want to talk about that too. Also, man, next week, There's other people in the book. We're gonna talk about D.W. Griffith,
Yes.
filmmaker
Uh-huh.
and evangelist McPherson, Sister McPherson.
Sister McPherson, Amy Semple McPherson.
Yeah, I learned a lot. That was interesting. How
Bro,
like it was hard.
so
The
good.
book was hard to put down.
You know what was so funny is that you laughed when we were talking over the phone the other day when I said the Amy McPherson part was the most boring for me, but it became the most interesting.
Yeah, man.
That shit was crazy.
I remember I was making Butch laugh because I was saying, like, imagine doing stand-up comedy during 1900,
Yes.
1930. What kind of jokes would you tell? Oh, man, her pussy was so wet, Mahalan couldn't fix it. Oh, man, I went with a girl last night. Her Virginia was so huge. Her vagina was so huge. Sister McPherson couldn't fill it up. She couldn't have a miracle. D.W. Griffith didn't want to film it.
Dude, that's so funny, dude. We should write jokes for that time era, dude.
Also, look up D.W. Griffith because he was the filmmaker, the biggest filmmaker
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that
during
next.
the fucking silent movie era.
Silent movie area. Bro,
So-
there's things I can't wait to talk about with that. Because that was the other thing was like, so like the water thing got really interesting right away. And that's what the book opens up with. I, again, thought that was going to be one of the most boring parts. None of it was boring. None of this book was boring.
At first, I thought she was boring too, bro. I was trying to fast forward that, bro.
But, bro, the fucking...
Sister McPherson.
The Sister McPherson, but the movie thing, dude, the silent film versus the talkies,
It's sad, huh?
that's crazy, bro. Yeah. Anyway, we're going to get to all of that next week on History for
for
Foos.
Foos.